Good day, people of the internet. Today we will be looking at the changes that came with Fractals after Heart of Thorns launched. This video is a couple months late, but there's still a bunch of stuff to talk about, and there will be a big patch coming in a couple, actually 2 weeks from now, that do more to Fractals. We will be doing that video another time, but there are some really big changes that are great for Fractals coming then. So, as of Heart of Thorns, Fractals got a huge, big change. Now, when you go do Fractals, you do one island. This is an individual Fractal every time you go in. So, you'll go in and do the Swamp Island, or the Molten Boss Island, something like that. You still need to do 3 Fractals to get a decent amount of rewards from how Fractal rewards work, but you have the option there just to do a Fractal a day. And now each level of Fractals is correspondent to an island. So Fractal level 2 is the Swamp Fractal, Fractal level 37 is the Snowblind Fractal. It's all set to certain Fractals. You get the idea. Another thing added with Heart of Thorns is a new daily system. Each day they will reset with the other dailies, but they are in their own separate tab in Fractals of the Mists. And you'll get a recommended 2 recommended Fractals to go do of varying levels. One is in between 1 and 20, the other is in between 21 and 30 or 40. Oh, 21 and 49, I do believe. The other dailies we have are the daily Fractal Veteran, Adept, and Champion dailies. Each of these require doing 3 Fractals of varying levels, whether it's 1 to 20, 21 to 50, or 51 to 100. Another thing that also came with all these dailies are a whole bunch of new achievements. The old achievements for Fractals are still there. When you actually complete them, you get a mastery point for Central Tyria, but there's a whole bunch of other achievements that give you rewards for just doing very basic things in Fractals, as well as some more challenge things. Fractals has become a lot easier for newer people to actually get into. They've been kind of scaled down in the early levels, but they will ramp up and go back to their normal difficulty as you get farther and farther up. It's just a lot easier to get your friend who barely plays into Fractals because they're really easy to do. Well, the early level Fractals are easy to do. Another new feature is the little info box in the top right hand corner. This has been changed with Heart of Thorns. Previously, it just told you the scale of the Fractal you're on and your personal reward level. Now it says the suggested amount of agony resist you should be having to go into the Fractal, and it tells you what the next island will be. The next island meaning when you go to the big glowing center, when you jump on it, and you all go into it, that's what the next Fractal is going to be. A mastery track has come to Fractals of the Mist, and I will be going over what each of those lines do, and they make Fractals even more rewarding. You need to do the actual mastery tracks to get farther into Fractals, get more rewards from Fractals, and just become better at fractaling. One thing many people will be aware of is the farming gold through dungeons got moved over to Fractals. Compared to the old dungeon system for gaining gold, Fractals is going to be less in the long run for gold, and is subject to RNG, but Fractals do offer a higher rate of items you get, such as ascended items, and basically ascended items and a couple extra things that only appear in Fractals. But the gold difference between Fractals and the old dungeon system would only apply if you actually did 12 or 14 paths of dungeons each day to get that gold. Instabilities have also been changed. They start at level 30, like they were in the last system, and they continue for 10 levels. So 30 to 40 is one set of instabilities, one instability. 40 to 50 is another set of instability. So moving on to the agony changes. Agony now kicks in at level 20, as well as it's harder to infuse your rings because the vials, globs, and shards of condensed mist essence have had their drops changed. So vials still drop from Fractal level 1 and up. Globs now drop at 30 and up, and the shards drop at 50 up. Infusing your rings is harder now because of how far the shards are out of your reach, but infusing your back pieces is reasonable because you need the globs, and those are at level 30. A much easier way to actually infuse your rings, with little air quotes, is attuning your rings. This is a new thing in Masteries. I'll be going over that in a bit, and it's far cheaper than trying to infuse rings. You can still infuse and attune at the same time, and I'll go over that in a moment. To actually test your agony resist, there's a pocket of agony in the hub. I'll be showing you that in a bit as well. If you have no agony resist, there's a vendor who gives you a potion that gives you plus 10 agony resist. Does not stack with any agony you already have equipped to your character, so that's mainly for people who don't have any agony resist. That's also barred through a mastery. I'll be talking about that as well with the other stuff. And lastly, instead of a set of fractals having the same amount of agony output, like 20 to 30, you need X amount of agony resist to get through it. It's now scaled per level. So level 20, you might need 3 agony resist. Level 21, you might need 5 agony resist. And from there, it scales up and up and up until you hit level 100, where you need 150 agony resist. So, going over masteries, we got 4 new masteries into the game. We got one, the first here, Follows Advice. This gives you access to the mid-tier dailies. This is 21 through 49 for the random one given to you, as well as you get access to a special vendor, which I'll go over in a bit when we tour the hub. Second tier, we get the Mastery Agony Channeler, additional rewards from boss chests, and now you can attune your rings. I'll put some wiki pages down in the description of how you attune your rings and the general stuff from Fractals that will help out. Third tier is Reclusive Resourcing? What? Recursive Resourcing. There we go. You gain 1 additional agony plus 1... You gain 1 additional plus 1 agony infusion from daily fractal chests, and fractal potions that can be found in the hub from a vendor now are improved. Last tier, the 4th tier, Mistlock Singularities. Gain Mistlock Singularities. This means you can now access those weird rotating blue things you see in each of the fractals. These are Mistlock Instabilities. Mistlock Singularities. These give you plus 5 agony resist. Nope. Yes, I think it's plus 5 agony resist. And if you go down or killed, you'll be automatically brought back with like a quarter of your health left. And this mastery also improves fractal potions further. So if you've been doing fractals for a while, you may have realized, hey, I'm not getting liquid gold from these fractals. I'm not finishing a fractal and then being rewarded with a wiggle chest that gives me gold. Where's the money? So, every time you finish an island, you'll receive an item called Fractal Encryptions. It can range from about 1 to 3 of these encryptions every time you complete an island, and there's no limit to this. You can do all the islands in one day, 1 to 100, and you can accumulate all these encryptions. But you can't open them just by themselves. That's where the time gate comes in here. You have to use fractal encryption keys to open them. And you get fractal encryption keys from actually opening these boxes, from getting them from your dailies, as well as buying them from a vendor in the Fractals hub for a couple different currencies. I'll be going over that when we tour the hub. So what you get out of this box is 2 items from a list I'm about to mention, plus an expensive piece of trash, which I'll go over at the end of the list. Opening up the box, you can get Bloodstone Dust, Imperial Shards, Dragonite Ore. You can also get the keys, like I mentioned. You can get any tier 5 mat that you could get from creatures, so blood, scales, bones, dust. You have the possibility of getting a mini Professor Mew, and you can combine this with other Professor Mews and a amber infusion thing from Fractals to make another cat golem, and perpetuate the cycle till you get to the final cat golem. You can get ascended recipes. Mostly I've been getting aqua breather recipes, but you can get other recipes like swords or armor. You can get fractal relics from opening up these boxes. You get plus 1 agony infusions from the box. If you have the mastery, this drop rate is increased, and the quantity is also increased. And you can get expensive trash. This is where the money is for doing fractals. When you actually get a piece of trash, you will unlock a collection called Seeker of Lost Homework. When you complete this collection, you will get a title, Professor, and you will get more encryption keys. And there are a whole bunch of different items of trash that you can get. And each of them have their own price of like what they're worth. There's one that is worth 60 silver by itself, another is 15 silver. But on average, from opening up an encryption box, you're going to get about 40 silver worth of expensive trash. Note, I say average. That doesn't mean minimum, that doesn't mean maximum. You can get more than 40 silver. When you get the daily chest, when you open it, you get a couple different items. You get one, a key, pristine fractal, +1 infusion, rid of experience, and 2 items that are new to fractals. A fractal research paper. When you collect 28 of these, that means doing 28 dailies, you can combine them into a fractal journal. This journal can be used to either be sold for about 20 silver, I think, or you can save it and use it towards the legendary back piece associated with the fractal. You only need 3 of these journals and then you can sell the rest of them. And the other item you get are stabilizing matrices. Stabilizing matrices are used for 3 main things. Getting golden fractal weapons, getting your fractal encryption keys. They also are involved with many aspects of legendary journeys, whether it's involved with doing the fractals back piece or doing the new legendaries in Heart of Thorns. So it's kind of up to you if you want to spend these matrices on keys, gold weapons, or legendary journey. You get 1 a day from each of the daily chests. Before we move on to touring the hub for fractals, there are 3 things I forgot to mention. 2 of them are about fractal guides I've done, the other is about agony. There's a new feature with bosses with agony is when they're going to do this big attack that does a lot of damage and causes agony, they'll have this purple aura start coming off of them, and that is your sign of this guy's about to land a big hit or do something that causes agony. I better be careful. Moving on to the things that happen to the guides. With 2 of the fractals I've done, there are a couple changes that have made certain tactics not too viable or not possible anymore, and also have helped the fractal. We'll start with the Aetherblade hideout. At the very last room in the Aetherblade hideout, you used to be able to stack in the little cubicles along the walls. No longer can you do this. There's a force field lining the walls, so you can no longer stack on any of the little cubicles. So you have to run around the room now, and you can't stack. You have to run around, dodge the lasers, kill the golems. So, bit of a downer, but it does make the fractal a little more high-tense and fun. Next, we have the Colossus fractal. Couple changes happened, and some of them are, one of the changes is really good. If you've done the Colossus fractal a lot, you'll be aware of when someone falls off the edge and lands somewhere, and if they have the hammer, you might have to restart the fractal because the hammer might get stuck on a cliff you can't drop onto and grab the hammer, or the hammer drops into the void below the map and doesn't come back out, so then you have to restart. There's a new way you can ensure you don't have to restart at the very base level of the fractal at the Colossus feet. There is a Azura there, part of Dessa's crew. If you go up to the Azura and you have the hammer, or wherever the hammer is, if you talk to that Azura, he or she will make the hammer come right to you on the ground in front of him. This is really nice for getting the hammer, but the one caveat to this is it's all the way on the bottom floor. So that means you have to run all the way back up the fractal to go back to where you were with the hammer, or to get from the top where you've lost the hammer all the way back down to get the hammer again. Last bit for the Colossus. When you get to the arm section where you have the 2 badges, well, 2 big sigil symbol things on his arms, and you need to run back and forth because of the force fields, no longer is stacking in the corner going to work too well. You can still do it, it's probably still viable, but now there are constantly acolytes spawning at each of the arms because there are 2 veterans guarding them at the beginning, which you have to kill for more acolytes to spawn. And a really easy method I have found is split up your group into 2 parts. 3 people from your group go back and forth smashing the stuff. The other 2 people will be stationary at each of the armbands and weaken the acolytes, so when the hammer guy comes by, they can easily smash smash an acolyte, then smash the symbol, and then run back. This is the easiest method I've found. Stacking is probably still viable. I haven't tried it. I've preferred us splitting up for fractals. Now we're going to actually tour the hub. It's very simple. Now all the vendors are kind of cat golems and Dessa's crew. You've got the repair bot right there. First cat golem you come to off of the stairs is just a basic merchant with kits and tools. Oh. I'll just show this off. We just opened up a fractal encryption. And here's an example of some loot you get. A trash item worth 25 silver. And I don't know where I got that from. And then you can just sell them right away. It's considered junk items. Next vendor here. He has many of the various items that we are familiar with in Fractals of the Mist, such as the prototype fractal capacitor, which is the backpack, various slide bags, the versatile simple infusions, and other things. As well as he will keep track of your recipes for the legendary journey for Fractals, the back piece. I've already gotten the achievement which gives me this recipe right here, finite result. If I delete the character or needed a spare one, here it is again for me to actually buy. And up on the top, Ascended Salvaging Tools. This is the only way you can salvage Ascended items, and salvaging them will give you stabilizing matrices as well as certain other items used for legendary journeys. And also at this vendor, this is where you buy the keys. You can buy them for 1 stabilizing matrix, or 20 silver and 1 fractal relic. Or you can buy, what's this? An array of deeply discounted fractal keys for 5 times the price of a regular one. And this should be, I hate doing this, but I just want to see what this does. Okay. The array of deeply discounted fractal encryption keys just gives you 5. I was pretty sure of that, but I just needed to double check. This is how you get the keys aside from finding them in dailies and loot.
Thank you.
Next vendor right here. This is where all the ascended rings are in Fractals, as well as the bag of fractal relics. This is how you convert pristine fractal relics into regular fractal relics. Over here we have our first vendor introduced with Heart of Thorns, an interesting one. This guy gives you potions that improve you in Fractals of the Mist. So they can improve you offensively, movement-wise, or defensively. And offensive improves your conditions and your raw damage. Each of these potions are different, have different potencies as well as different prices. Oh, that was it. The first set of potions, these mist, like the mist offensive potion, is just 1 drink. If you buy the large mist offensive potion, it's 1 drink, but it gives you 5 stacks, which means you don't have to buy as much. But you're also, I do believe, spending a little more money than if you just bought these potions. Oh wait. No wait, I think they're the same price. Yeah, don't mind me, I'm just doing bad math. So you can buy them in singular form, or in stacks of 5. Well, a 1 potion that equates to 5 stacks. Over here you have a char who talks to you about, like, agony and how they, agony and some other stuff about fractals. And right here is the pocket of agony. So if you hop into it, you'll take agony and you'll see how you do. I recommend that if you're trying to see how well you'll do in agony, because it's not fun to be in a group and then suddenly you're having people drop left and right because they don't have enough agony. Last vendor is if you talk to this guy, he will take you to a small island way over here. You can see the hub's there, and then this island is here. If you want to travel back to the hub, you just need to talk to this golem and he will bring you back. But on this island are where the masteries actually come into play. The first mastery allows you to talk to the golem and come to this island. And I'm pretty sure the island is perfect distance away, so you can't portal people over here. But even if you could, I don't think people without the mastery can talk to this guy. So this guy has a whole bunch of potions, well, a whole bunch of items that actually improve how you do in Fractals. So the first thing we have here is the Fractal Attuned Outfitter. Oh, that's weird. He gives you this Anguishing Tea. This allows you to have +5 agony resist, but it doesn't stack with any other agony resist. The Attuning Crafting Material. This is what is needed to actually turn your rings into attuned rings. Once they become attuned, they will gain a agony infusion. If you attune and infuse, you get 2 agony infusion slots, as you can see from this ring. I'll throw up a wiki page showing how to attune it. It'll be just a general page. I'll just throw up a random Ascended ring page that shows you how to infuse. The recipe for the forge is always the same, of agony infused, some random forge item, a +1 agony infusion, and then some ring. I'll just throw up a random one, so don't be alarmed. Next up we have the bulk agony infusions. You can buy your thermocatalytic reagents from here, same price as a regular vendor. And you can upgrade your versatile simple infusions into +7 versatile infusions instead of a +5. Requires a +5. I'll go over a way that you can save money doing this so you don't screw yourself up. And the last, this thing right here, of all these infusions, this is just a faster way of converting agony. If you have stacks and stacks and stacks of +1 agony infusions and you go convert them on your artificer, it's going to take a while. From here, it accesses all your agony infusions. I'm pretty sure that it accesses it from between characters, but here you can start converting it just how an artificer would, but it's faster. Like, I just clicked this a couple times and hey, suddenly I have a bunch of +3 agony infusions instead of sitting at the crafting bench for several minutes just waiting for it to go. Lastly, one of the most important things for anyone using Ascended items, the Infusion Extracting Device. This allows you to pull infusions from items, which is important because if you throw items with infusions into the forge, they disappear. So the way this item works is, you open it up and here's a little window, and you just drag an item over here. I'm not actually going to press extract the items, I'm just going to show it. We'll throw like this ring here, and it says, hey, here's the ring, here are the infusions on it, and then if I hit extract, it takes the infusions out there in my inventory, and the ring is ready to be thrown into the forge and I won't lose anything. This only works with infusions, so if you have armor with infusions, it will just extract the infusion. It will not extract the rune or the sigils on your weapons. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you'll head to Fractals the Mist to try and make money or explore the mists, and new Fractals are coming in a couple of weeks. I'll talk about that later, well, in another video. But until then, hit like, comment, subscribe, hit me up on the Twitters and the comment section below, and have a day.